political, whatever you call it, priority. But the other hand, they have to, talk about stuff that's really happening. All right, 25,703 here. Let's take a look. Hero out of the gate. We have a little bit of put buying, call selling at the top, or call buying and put buying. Large green candle here, all the way up to the top of the range. This is that Linda Green, baby. This is that Linda Green. All the way up, 25,753. We're coming up on a 100-point 1-minute green candle on the NASDAQ. Extraordinary. Beautiful stuff. 3C bounce right there at 850. And for a move all the way into the prior pivot. This will be a 5th test of this resistance. What's up, YouTube? How's it going? What's up, Jonathan? Hassan, how you doing? Good morning. Large green coming up, 760, new high right there. That's a even more green pump coming up. Going, baby. 3 C's once again. Linda Raschke, what is that, 5 for 5 this week? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Whoever controls the book controls the open, man. Extraordinary. VIX is 1753, dropping back over. Gold put on a beautiful bounce there as well. And now coming up into volume at that prior high of 472. We talked about this one last night on the Zoom call as well. So there's a lot of great opportunities out there in this market. A lot. Call buying right up there. It's beautiful stuff, man. I feel like a Denver for later knocked me out back at 25,620. That's okay. You still got some profits, though. That's all that matters. Remember, all you need is a small chunk. You don't need the whole thing. Most of tech is green. AVGO is back to green. Nvidia is top ticking 183.91. Microsoft is flat. Apple is flat. Amazon is 230.48. AVGO, big green up into that prior pivot of 393.57. Meta is still flat. Google is back up, and Tesla is top wicking. Range to range, baby. Here, I'll move this. This looks a little big. There we go. I just approved tiny cars to be built in America, manufactured along with it. Start building. Yeah, that's what I want. I want a tiny car. All we want is a brand new, capable truck that's under $20,000. That's all we want. Tired of looking at $100,000 mediocre cars. That is a good looking truck. It is. NASDAQ 25,770. That is a 200-point bounce off of a 3C long right there before the open. And ES is coming up here as well. We have call selling, put selling at the moment. We'll see which one breaks. Remember, we have data in 26 minutes. Substantial data. It's the biggest data point of the week. The option chain, again, is not pricing in a big move for it. IV is not juiced, but it is still the biggest event of the week. Tiny death traps, that's right. 68.82. Nasdaq still going. ES is slowly top ticking. We're down about 4 or 5 points from the highs there. We do have this little wedge and trend line. You know, we noted this. It's been playing out all week here. Obviously not actionable to me, but it's more of just a constriction here as price action is very, very tight. So I'm very much looking forward to next week. So if you have a limited number of trades, then make sure you wait until next week. Next week is where the fun is. For me, it would be fine. I don't go very far. I live in a town, don't really get it on expressways. Yeah. Killing VIX a bit. Yeah. 25,763. We have put selling and call selling today. Both sides of the tape being sold into this event. ES is 68.82. Just kind of chilling here. We had the big pop at the open, and now we're just kind of hanging out. There's a whole bunch of put selling here. 317 million of puts sold. And calls are starting to be bought back up here, and we're just chilling up here at 68.82. Has anyone had any issues with TakeProfitTrader returning emails? I've been trying to get a hold of them all week, and they won't respond to me. No, I mean, they have definitely, the past 3-4 weeks, though, they've been a lot slower than they have been up until that point. So they were usually within 20 minutes, they've responded to everything I've done. But about 3 weeks ago, something changed where they're very slow. Now, I've still gotten back to them this week, but they have been very slow. And I've reached out to them. They said that they're aware of the issue and they're putting process into place to bring it back to where it was. But yeah, I think they've grown really fast over the past 6 months. So they're just kind of having some growing pains probably. All right, well, one green candle out of the gate and then back to the grind. They did something similar yesterday. They did a huge dump and pump and then stuck sideways, which was pretty terrible. And that's the environment that we're in. Very quick spurts of IV, very quick spurts of volatility, and then nothing. That's the environment that we're in. It's unfortunate, but got to play what we got, you know. Nvidia, yes, Nvidia's still getting smashed. They gave back everything as they continue to pummel Nvidia. No bueno. Microsoft isn't really going anywhere. Nasdaq is still chilling above the resistance. There you go. Screenshot this. What do you think of all these mods in this truck? Personally, I'd like the utility truck around the property. I mean, that's beautiful. I would 100% buy that. The problem is, if I had to guess, that is not the $20,000 model. That's probably like a $50,000 model. If I had to guess. Life is just not that kind. We'll see, though. That's the lesson I learned this week. Take what the market's giving you. It's always going to be so cut and dry. Yep. Take what the market's given us. That's what I've tried to preach this week, is just play what the market's given us. Stop trying to predict. And I told you all last week that this week is going to smoke everyone. This is going to grind people up. And so far, I mean, I hate to say I'm correct and pat myself on the back, but I think this market's been in a grinder all this week. If you weren't in tune with buy the dip, sell the rip, then you're probably not having that great of a week. Trendline rejection on ES. Yep. Yep. This is the orange line. What's up, Will? How you doing? NVIDIA stuck at the 20 DMA. How are the options looking? I mean, the IV is low. You know, we're only talking about IV's even lower than yesterday at the open. We're talking about 18 at the money positions IV for SPX. The expected move for the day is not very far. I think it's only 39 basis points. It's not much. So, all right, here's a rejection on ES, selling back off, coming back down to the session low, which is about 68.74. That's right at the open, by the way. So, yeah, dropping back over. Launching ICs. Snagged a lotto put. Nice, nice. We have a bunch of call selling here and put selling. So they're selling calls, 374 million in calls, and they're selling puts, 645 million in puts. There's a nice large dump. We're down about 12 points from the highs, but bottom wicking back up. They just cleared the opening price, 68.75. $50 fib again. Nice. VIX is still holding. Now, one thing Spot Gamma said is that with the VIX bottomed out where it is into next week, you're going to start seeing volatility spikes as they build volatility again today, possibly into Monday and Tuesday. Now, I'm not talking about flash crashes like 100-point sell-offs on the S&P, but quick 20-point, 10-point little quick volatility spikes as they start building back into the VIX for next week. So be prepared for that kind of stuff. We had one yesterday. You know, we saw a quick 30 points on ES, and then they promptly bought it back up. Little bottom wick on the S&P. Selling calls, selling puts here. Preparing for the environment of PCE. $25,745 to 675. 745, yeah. So that was a great move on NASDAQ too, all the way down. And we're talking, you know, about 100-point sell. Into the data, we have decent data. We're coming up on 945, which if I take a position, I'm going to consider it here, obviously now. But again, I'm not chomping at the bit here to get in this market. You know, I'm in a very, very good position. I've got all my funded accounts locked and loaded for next week on TPT. I've got, of course, my IBKR all rocking and rolling. I've been playing a couple more 0DT options the past week that I haven't been doing in a while, so I'm locked and loaded. I'm not in a hurry to get any positions here. I need something solid to get in. Gold sitting a little bit of a bounce here. That's beautiful 3Cs. Coming up. The higher high on this one would have been 42.64 on the 1 minute, so it's not leaving much profit yet, but it's starting to head that way. Bottom wick on NASDAQ, bottom wick on the S&P. VIX is still chilling 1585, small bounce there. You could tell the frustration on conversations on X. I attempted to have a couple of rational conversations, but If you mention anything other than blast off, bull rally, Santa rally, you're going to get called an idiot. So you could tell there's some stress out there. I just sat down, didn't get excited about the big rip, not expecting much. Did I miss anything? Not yet. So far, we had the Linda Raschke Green Open, and now we're just waiting for data here. We're just like back and forth. I'm new to trading. Thanks for sharing. Nice, Backwoods. Welcome. New to trading. It's a good place to be in, man. It's a good place to be in. In about 10 years, you're going to look back and think this was the worst decision you ever made or the best decision you've ever made. Either way, the choice is yours. Is Linda the most profitable day trader in the world in terms of accuracy and consistency? I have no idea. I doubt it. I doubt it. I mean, she's had struggles too. I really like. She wrote a book, Trading Sardines, which was a really good book actually, because it goes in not only to the trading side of things, but the emotional part of things, where she faced adrenal gland failure for a long time, or adrenal gland fatigue, and I can 100% understand how that happens. So, but she's been in the business now for what, 40 years, and a very good mind to learn from. She's made millions and millions. There's a lot of folks like me who had banger months and they switched the game and it's been a long week. Nothing but put selling. $1 billion in put sold here. So the market will not drop with this kind of put selling. This is what they've been doing now on the option chain. Not this week necessarily, but the prior couple of weeks it's been written, up until this, on the big move up from Thanksgiving. A whole bunch of put selling here, and that's what they're doing now. $1 billion in put sold. She was on the market maker side too, so she had good intel. 100%. I tell my friends not to do it. Most people are pretty prone to the mental pitfalls. My buddies who have asked me to start trading and teach them how to trade and stuff, I've told them that if you don't have a phenomenal amount of time to invest in this in the beginning, don't do it. Like, I started this when I was in my 20s. They're, obviously approaching 40 and into their 40s. And they've got young kids, and they've got their lives building and careers to build, or they're in their process of achieving higher ranks in their careers. And it's like, if you don't have time and resources and the emotional fortitude to trade, don't do it. Don't even start. Like, you have to it's easier to start this when you're not married and you don't have kids. So you can focus all your energy into this and learn how to do it and figure out if something you actually want to do. Adrenal fatigue, I can totally see that happening. Yeah, 100%. 100%. And then if you throw in, internet communities where you're dealing with egos the size of Texas, it brings a lot more stress into that as well. You're 26 now? Nice. I also tell my friends, if you haven't already been wildly successful in other pursuits, you have very little chance of making it trading. I like it. It was a full-time job for 4 years before I started to see the light. 100% it was, yeah. What about something else the size of Texas? What do you mean? What do you use to see the call, put, buying, selling? So what you're seeing here on the screen, that little chart to the left, that is spot gamma. Spot gamma is hero data. And that allows me to track the option, the put and call flow. So how does she overcome the adrenal fatigue? A lot of rest and time off. Learned about options last week. Nice. Of course, you could check out the YouTube channel I've got. It's got a whole bunch of information about options and the basics and how to read Greeks and whatnot that you can get into and learn a little bit. NASDAQ is 25,746. ES is about to put in a new high. $1.1 billion put sold. There's no way they're going to drop this with this kind of put selling. They have to start buying back those puts if it is. Otherwise, they're going to take out they just took out a new high there. And, of course, we've got this trend line and resistance both co-located. If they take that out, then I would probably say we'll put on a pretty healthy green move into the morning session. Maybe even up to 6,900 test. Silver, nice. Yeah, gold got that 3C long, baby, and it's ripping and tearing all the way to 42.75. It's good stuff, man. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Good question. Or they smoke and put the put seller, and the put sellers get torched. Well, maybe. Either way, is that as long as that put line is just rocket ship up, and you have to be very delicate. And if they start buying back some of those puts, then yeah. But right now, I'm just waiting. I'm not taking any of this at the moment. There's a nice little flush again off of that line, but they're already bottom wicking it. This kind of price action kills me back and forth. You've got to be very accurate if you're playing this back and forth stuff. Very accurate. There's no momentum here. That's the issue. Every single move is reversed instantly, up or down. So there's no momentum carry through that gives a lot of wiggle room to traders who are a little bit inaccurate. A very high momentum trending market, you can be a little sloppy and still make money. But in this market, you can't be sloppy because you've got to pivot it. You've got to be able to capture every single pivot here pretty accurately. There we go. Can you elaborate on adrenal? Oh. There we go. Can we elaborate on adrenal fatigue? Like so she couldn't even get out of bed. Like it was complete, like debilitating fatigue. And that's what her doctor told her. It says that she's had adrenal fatigue where your body's pretty much just pumped full of adrenaline 24/7 for years. And eventually it's just, that's it. Your body just can't handle it anymore. I guess it's the adrenal gland. It's adrenal gland equivalent to diabetes. Or type 2 diabetes, I should say. How does the drawdown work on TPT Pro? If I don't take the profit of the trade, does it still count? Correct. So the drawdown doesn't switch to static until you are in the live account. That's why you have to grind up with small position sizing until you hit that buffer or you get into the live account. All right, climbing up here, 68.90, still going. We have aggressive put selling, 1.4 billion. This is some of the strongest put selling we've seen since the initiation of the trend back before Thanksgiving. They're just pummeling the puts here. VIX ain't dropping because there's not any more to drop on the VIX. But the S&P is now broken out finally after another attempt, and after 4 major rejections and now a little 5th rejection, now there's not really much else resistance to stop this thing. What's the buffer for the pro account? It depends on what account you select. Still going, baby. Still going. I just passed the eval on my competition TPT account. Beautiful math. Well done, buddy. Still going. 68.92. NASDAQ, another bounce is 25,800. Next on deck is going to be 6,900 on the S&P. What are the eval rules? There's not many. They don't have many rules. You just trade within the bounds, of course, with the number of contracts, and don't hit your trailing drawdown. And there is a trailing drawdown on unrealized gains, which sucks, but it's very rewarding if you pass. Still going. There's no selling indication here at all. We have 1.4 billion in puts sold. 338 million of calls purchased. So we're coming up on data in 5 minutes. Now that the Linda Raschke thesis has been fulfilled, we can kind of go about and see what the momentum is going to bring us. They are about to reach into, let's go over to the 5-minute quick. They did close over the resistance, so they've closed into this. If they can hold this little move here, then we are an official breakout on today's session. Dump after the data? Maybe, maybe. There's no sign of a dump after the data, I'll say that. I mean, it could happen, but there's no sign of it at the moment. There's strong put selling, strong call, well, light call selling. There's strong calls, put selling, light call buying. We have multiple rejections at this level that have now finally breached. So normally, you don't go selling off when you finally break out of a highly contested resistance. Usually you sell off before you break out. So even though we did just break back under it. So give it time. Give it time. Be patient. We need to close over this over the resistance here. It ain't your grandma's market. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. If we can close over the 15-minute trend line, that's a good sign. If we can close below it again, we'll just stuck in a range. Yeah, so the higher time frame close would be fantastic. So a close here on the 15-minute over that would do wonders for an upside move. I've got a few trades done, only really high confidence setups. Or nothing, math. Or nothing. Lock it up, baby. It's your mama's. Here's the retest of the SR flip. We have 2.5 minutes until data. There's zero interest in selling the market at the moment. Zero. The competition is locked for sure until I get an activation email. Nice. Once we kind of get through this data here, I'll do the drawing for the TPT account, the $50,000 TPT account. We'll give that one away. And then next week, with all the volatility, we'll start doing some tier 2 150 accounts and some more 50 accounts. Still bottom wicking, still holding. There's no signing, there's no selling whatsoever. Here's the 1-minute chart. We're pinning. We've got 20 seconds, baby. 20 seconds. What do y'all think? Big green, big red, nothing, or nothing burger? I just realized my initial account cost back. Merry Christmas. Nothing. Nothing burger with cheese, rug pull, big red. Here it is, 2 minutes, or 2 seconds. So far, green reaction. And A whole bunch of call buying just hit the tape. They just jumped into 500 million calls there in about 3 minutes. Let you know in 2 minutes. Strangle. Touche. Touche. Nothing burger. Top wick. Core PCE price index came in at 2.8. The forecast was 2.9. That was 10 o'clock there. We have a very small top wick forming. Michigan consumer came in low as well. I mean, everything came in lower, but not much lower. Nothing groundbreaking here. Nothing groundbreaking. And of course, there's a very minor top wick that is holding up just fine. Now they've added 500 million of calls, and they're still selling puts. So, but on the 1 minute, we have a small amount of volume. We have a small top wick. If we go to the 5 minute, we have a small top wick with not really too much volume here. Overall, no shorting unless you capture 6886.5. Don't even think about shorting unless you can close under 6886.5. Until then, long biased. That's right, Twizzy. That's right. And we're back to atrocious price action. Bottom wick back up. There's zero on these slow grind days that are low volume where everything is bought up. You cannot short anything, especially if you don't get a lower low. So here we have an instant bottom wick. They're back into buying put or buying calls. You see these lines are both going straight up. Call buying, put selling. There's a new high right there. On NASDAQ, it would be right here at 764 is what you would need. Love the days when we open outside of balance and don't even test PD value. If you understand the macro environment and you have the foresight to look ahead of what's coming next week, then you can see why that we have these extremely low volume, just 1 or 2 tick moves where it just kind of grind up. We have extreme volatility the next 2 weeks, so they're just going to grind this baby up. They just closed out the high as well. You don't fade breakouts until you get a lower low, and now we're coming up to 820. And we're going up. Does the data instantly change rate cut odds? Something, this wouldn't, no, unless it's extraordinarily skewed, but it's not. It came in right in line, so let's go take a look. Here comes 6,900. Right now, it's an 87.2% chance of a cut, of a 25 basis points cut in December 10th meeting, which is next week. For January, we're at a 25% of an additional 25 cut, which would bring us back down into the 300 mark for their target rate. Done for the day. Thanks as always. Nice. I've had one of the best trading months. Fantastic, Lowen. Keep it up, buddy. Grind it up. Grind it up. Happy to see it. I love when y'all have good success. All right, here we go. 1.7 billion of puts. This is straight put selling. An extreme an extreme amount of put selling. They are not going to drop this market until they reverse that. And they may not reverse it today. Today's just drift day, baby. I took a long on the NASDAQ of the 200 EMA. I'm at the daily goal. Accounts locked. Beautiful, Damien. Still going. New high of the day. Just grind it up, baby. Grind it up. 571 million of calls. 1.7 billion puts sold. Tremendous amount of bullish activity on the options. We had a small volume spike on the 1 minute for the data. That top wicked. No 3C. Instantly bought back up. If you go to the 5, same concept. In fact, we didn't even have a top wick on the 5 minute. We had nothing but bottom wicks. And now we're going even higher, baby. We're up almost 300 points since the 8:50 morning. Still going. December 18th, 2026. $3 million put for Tesla at 470. Interesting. Definitely don't want bad success. You definitely don't. Definitely don't. Give me a retest. We already did. You already had your retest. Right here. That was your SR flip right there at 25,775 on NASDAQ. ES was right there. New resistance, prior support, launch mode. So remember, a few different prop firms have put out that CME is cracking down on counter positioning in prop firms, which hasn't been the case though, because most prop firms are on the simulated book. So you're no longer allowed to put on a short and a long at the same time on the same product. You could do like a long on ES and a short on gold, but you can't do a short and a long on ES or ES related products. You'll get shut down for that. And that's a CME thing. That's not a prop thing. SPY cracks the high would be a 5 wave up in bearish RSI divergence. Most things look good in January. And bearish RSI divergence. I'm not sure what that is, but yeah, I mean, so as long as you hold the highs here, we've been in a very tight range for a while. This is typical breakout action. Dump right before the breakout, regather inventory, attack for a umpteenth time, and then break out and retest and bounce. So 6,900 just got breached and then rejected. This was the prior November high, monthly high. And yeah, there you go. You're not allowed to hedge, that's BS. Yeah. How are they doing that? Like if you long top step, that I don't know. Multiple brokerages or multiple companies, I don't know. Do you have any thoughts if we retest a 25,880 level? Well, that's where all the volatility kicked off back in November when we broke out. So that would probably be a good liquidity induction there. But so far, I mean, it's just straight up for now. So I'm not even thinking about shorting anything until I see something to tell me it's time to go down. And now there's nothing to tell me it's time to go down. So you got to play the drift, especially knowing this price action where we're doing these 1 point tick, just slow grind that takes hours and hours, there is no chance in hell I am stepping in front of this stuff at all, unless I see a very strong 3C with volume. So until then, you just play the grind. That's it. Play the 3C bounces, and up we go. Especially on a Friday. Especially on a Friday. Because they could do this all freaking day long. Grind this up until 25.9, ES 6900, and all the way up. Netflix shares are down 4.6. Another bottom wick. Every single little red candle's bottom wicked. I have a serious problem where some mornings I wake up and I'm afraid to assume the risk of trading. I'll spot a setup and then I'll just sit there paralyzed at the moment I'm supposed to enter pauses. I've spotted 4 3C trades this morning, and that's all went R and 1R and took 0 of them. Not even with just one contract on my XFA. It's obvious my attitude towards risk holding me back. I'm not sure what to do about it beyond trading in the zone again. Turn the risk all the way down, baby. What do you normally trade? What's your normally position sizing? Which do you use, minis or micros, and how many on your XFA? One MES, one contract. I mean, you can't go any smaller than that. So you're doing that right. I mean, other than telling you, pooper, get off the pot. There's you read the Trading in the Zone Again book, but you got to have confidence in your moves, dude. If you're identifying these moves right, another breakup by the way. If you're identifying these moves right, then there's no reason you shouldn't be at least trying to put on some risk. So, you're doing the right thing by turning the risk down. But other than that, man, you just got to execute. Identify the move, set the parameters, the target profit, and the stop loss, and take your hands off. I mean, this is a phenomenal. Like right now, there's right now 0 risk of dropping up until this point. So right now, we need to be longing. 0 risk. Every single thing is moved up. We have no lower lows. We have no volume spike. They are selling so much puts. It's the strongest put flow in the negative since last week. So put on some risk. And if you identify 3C setups that are long, just take the position and take your hands off. You're talking about 1 MES. You're talking about 1 MES. In this range where S&P is chopping in like 5 and 10 point ranges, what is that? You're talking about $50 at the most if you're completely wrong and you don't put a stop on. So extraordinary. Realistically, I can take dozens of L's and not blow the XFA still. Well, that's the deal. I mean, if you size down properly, and that's the beautiful thing about sizing down, is that if you've got an account and you size properly, you can take 10 to 15 losses in a row and still not blow the account, even with a trailing drawdown, like TPT. That's the beauty of sizing down, is that it takes that fear of your stomach where any wrong move and you're done out. And that way, you're free to trade the way you should be trading. But if you're still doing that and you're still not executing, then that's a mental block you've got to get over. There's nothing I can tell you to not do that other than just do it. So what I would encourage you to do is the pragmatic solution I would come up with is create an Excel sheet or a log or some way to log your trades. Log your trades and then have a section for missed trades and identify it in advance. Write down on a piece of paper if you don't want to take a trade, here's a 3C long, and then simulate an entry on a piece of paper long, at this price. And come back to it in 20 minutes and say, 1, did it ever come close to my trailing stop that I would want? And number 2, how profitable was the position? If you do that enough, you'll say, hey, I'm making proper decisions. My system is working. I'm just not executing. And eventually you can say, all right, well, I'm going to stick to the trade and I'm going to take it and take my hands off. And that's it. I'm trying to teach y'all the way to trade prop firms that can literally change your life, and not the nonsense gambling crap you see on X about $300,000 wins. It's a bunch of nonsense. But if you could put in a copy trade with 5 or 6 or 10 accounts and literally just trade 1 MES, 2 MESs, get to that buffer in a couple of weeks, and then you're talking $100 a day per account times however many accounts you get. That's all you got to do. It'll change your life. We are very, very fortunate to live in the world of these prop firms. I still don't know how they're legal. It's still ridiculous that you can pay $80 and pull out $5,000. Doesn't make sense to me. Or you could do 20 Apex and never get paid. That's right. All right. Anyway, we have 1.2 billion of calls purchased, 1.7 billion of puts sold. It doesn't get any more bullish than this on the options. This is straight gasoline for the bulls right here. 0 thoughts of selling this until you get a 3C long or short opportunity. Until then, remain long. This is up we go, baby. Up we go. Up we go. This is straight up. I'm sure you noticed the Peter Panhandle formation adding to the RSI divergence. I don't know. I can't tell if there's so much out there in the trading world. I can't tell if you're joking or not. You're entered at 890 on ES and trying to be patient. Fantastic entry. Set a stop. Take your hands off. There's 0 indication of selling here, so this is the time to ride the trend until you have a 3C indication. Period. Take the guesswork out of it. Take the predictions out of it. Just ride it until you have a 3C indication, and then to get out. Very good advice. I use a similar imaginary trend trades to build motivation when I get into that scared mindset for a while. Yep. Fear works both sides of the tape. It works on you when you are in a trade and not in a trade yet. Let's see how much Netflix raises rates to pay for WB. Yeah, tell me about it. What helped me get it with my anxiety was getting out my journal, putting the trade on, and writing every thought that goes through my head every second. It got me busy writing, and the trade played out every time. There you go. Definitely joking. Nice. Nice. We have a little bit of volume at the 915 candle on ES, which is right here. So your 3C would be under this mark right here. So now you could start moving your stops up to lock in profit. If it closes under 6900.25. If it doesn't, you're just fine. You're just fine. Now that's the 1 minute too. You go to the 5 minute. Comes down to about here. I may regret it, but I limped out on that top wick. No, it's okay. There ain't nothing wrong with that. Remember, we're not here to... you can catch the whole move. Obviously, that's everywhere I go, but all you need is a piece of the pie, baby. Piece of the pie. I started filming myself trading and thinking out loud that I'd go back and watch. That helped me. I would not want to do that. I can't imagine anyone looking at this face for a while. What time frame do you have your setting on? I've got it on the 1 minute right now. You would cringe your brain out. I love it. I love it. Still bottom wicking off of the lower lows. See, the lower lowers were put in. You're G to G right here. You're G to G. If you're long, you're G to G. Ain't no thing but a chicken wing. Be patient. Be patient. Let the market tell you when it's ready to sell. I'm scare myself. Still just chilling. I've made so many terrible trades this week. It's in the opposite direction from Tofu. A little too aversion to risk. Had 4 newly passed pro accounts on Monday. Killed 3, and I'm down to 200 from the floor of the 4th by Wednesday yesterday morning. Made my max position size 2 micro. I'm inching way back from total destruction. Perfectly stop out. What were you doing before the 2 micro, Odious? Well, light blue glasses help getting nauseous. I did at one point use those. I don't use them currently. Not to say that I shouldn't still use them. I'm still thinking about it, but I would buy that souped-up Toyota Helix. Perfect truck for our property and things we do. Perfect dimensions. My Tundra's a little too tall and wide to get through some areas, but I show through some areas when it's raining hard. There you go. All right, about to put a new high in. Until you put in a lower low, guess what? You remain long, baby. You remain long. Can't believe how huge the new Tacoma has come. Broke that rule trying to defend. For me, I have a hard stop in my mind of I am not letting the market get below a certain point based on structure. I set my entry, and I tell myself no matter what, when this structure breaks, I'm out of the position. That way, I know my risk ahead of time. I know ahead of time, I don't care if I put on the worst trade in the world. I stand to lose this much money and only that much money. There's no chance of me blowing out an account on any single one trade. And that's what keeps me in the game because I'm a good enough trader. I'm not amazing by any means. I'm a good enough trader where I can stop the bleeding and reverse the trend as long as I give myself enough liquidity to get back in the game. If I blow everything up, then I'm done, just like everybody else. Keep yourself in the fight through proper position sizing and a hard stop based on structure. Now, I read that thesis report that we talked about yesterday. I posted it today that says that trailing stops are usually a terrible idea. In fact, it's better to hedge the opposite direction with options, very low cost options instead of close out because usually you're going to miss the tail event. The problem is, vast majority of traders aren't emotional mature enough or in control of their emotions enough to do that. They need a stop. And I would most likely put myself in that category as well. I can hedge I have hedged myself out of a hole before, but it's very taxing emotionally. This looks like absorption for higher, unless they can break the trend. Gold right now put on a beautiful 3C bounce and now is looking like a possible 3C rejection. They have to close a lower low first, though. What time frame do you have your hero set to? You already answered that. Too busy with worth this morning delivering the cure to hunger, but small positions with profit stops like Ron Papatil. Set it and forget it. Had my stop set pretty tight on ES, got stopped out a couple minutes ago. Looking good on 3C trades. Where do you recommend setting a stop loss on ES that's moving up so I don't get stopped out? Well, what is the market telling us right now? In order for me, if I, looking at a long trailing stop, if I'm looking to where I set a trailing stop, I'm going to ask myself, where would I want to consider shorting? In my opinion, on the 5-minute, if we break below 68.98, there's a good chance of a small or full-on retracement. I can't predict the future, so I can't tell you if we're going to full-on reverse all of this. But if we get under a lower low, the market's telling us they're ready to accept lower prices, even if only a little bit. So in my opinion, if we close under 68.98, it's time to at least trim up your stop or get out of the long position altogether. And then on the complete opposite side of that, consider shorting if we close under this. So think about that. Where would you want to start shorting an upward trend? And that's where you probably need to consider setting your stop loss. Think logically. Think logically. That's right, Robbie T. 214, close parentheses, open parentheses, AAS, DFGH, KL, semicolon. 100%. Couldn't agree more. Out at 9:02. Perfect Friday. Nice, Jonathan. Well done, buddy. Thank my daughter for that, Jim. I love it. I love it. Oh, man. They're buying back a very small amount of puts. They bought back almost $1 billion worth of puts, and they are selling some calls. But still, we can't get a lower close. So regardless, 3Cs always win out over everything else. 3Cs first, then options, until you get a lower low, which we haven't gotten yet. Not a close, at least. You're just chilling like a villain. But it was just a little billion. $100 billion. NVIDIA, by the way, got wrecked this morning and has not really recovered. Is it RTY time? RTY is bidding up. They've been the overperformer of the week. RTY had blasted yesterday while everything else just kind of chilled. And while tech is taking a breather, of course. Apple's getting wrecked. Nvidia's got wrecked. Microsoft got wrecked this morning, but they're kind of just chilling up here at the highs. AVGO is rolling down. Does tech join the fun is the question. Does tech join the fun? I have a confession. I caved and switched over to MES. I took 1 micro on that EMA touch in the last 5 minutes below. A couple of minutes after I said that, I had to sit out. There you go. Still chilling, 69.02. Still going up. See, your trailing stop right there. What has kept you in the trade? New high of the day right there. In 5 minutes, you went from should I stop out to new high of the day, simply because you waited till the market put in a lower low, which it didn't. Not closing, at least. There it goes. Time to beat this into my head again. Lower low meaning it has to close. Yeah. So for max confidence, if you're looking for max confidence across the board, you need volume spike, top wick, close under a lower low. That's max confidence. Now you could trade outside of those bounds, but you have to reduce your confidence. That's the key there. If you want full-on max confidence, especially on a move like this, that's just relentlessly slow grind trends. This is different from an aggressive, relentless blast-off engulfing green trend. This is slow and steady, controlled, inch-by-inch green trend up. This is a much harder trend to reject than the blast-off volatile green, because when you get the crazy, quick 100, 200 points on NASDAQ, it sucks down like half the move very quickly. You could short it. But this stuff shows you that there's no underlying selling pressure in the market structurally. So if you're going to short a market like this, you have to have all 3 confident C's to want to short it. You have to, or otherwise you're going to get ran over. Not to mention 1.4 billion of puts sold, 1.3 billion calls sold. So the option chain is incredibly bullish. Everything right now looks incredibly bullish, with exception to a couple of tech names, which Nvidia, read today, has been read almost every day for like 2 weeks now. Nvidia has been underperforming since July. So that's nothing different there. That shouldn't be a red flag for today's session, at least. It should be a red flag macroeconomically, but not for today's session. So that's what I'm saying. There are times where you can take a trade without even having the lower low, but you need location to do that, and we don't have that today. We have now broken over a resistance after already rejecting and retesting. So, you don't have the location, so you can't cut out the third C there. I know you've talked about it before, but how do you personally handle the buffer on TPT? As in the 50K, there's a 2K buffer withdrawal. Do you have your own buffer? Do you keep above the 52K? I like to build in 2 times the buffer. That's my goal, at least. I don't always get there, but I'd like to. So my goal, like for example, I've funded another 6 additional accounts this week on TPT that are waiting in the ranks. So those will be implemented when I blow the next accounts. That my goal is to keep it slow and steady. I'm trading anywhere on the larger accounts. I trade Like on the 150K accounts, I'm trading one MES, two MESs at a time until I build the 4,500 buffer. On the smaller account, like the lowest one I had with the 75K, I'm playing anywhere between one mini to 5 to 10 micros, depending on the situation, depending on my confidence levels. And I do that until I build the buffer. It takes me a week or two, 3 weeks, but that's okay. And then once I start getting into that buffer, every dollar I put in above the buffer, I take about $100 out per account every single day. And then I leave the rest until I get to twice the buffer, and then I start anything over twice the buffer. I have no desire to build a balance, none. The way I approach prop firms in a very pragmatic, mechanical way, I do not care to build a buffer. And I really became more aggressive on that thesis after what happened in September. I built $147,000 on Top Step in September, and I wasn't to take most of it out. I took a lot of it out. I took a tremendous amount of payouts, but not all of it. And that got me to the point is, why am I wasting this energy taking all this money out on TPT? So I'm just going to build 2 times buffer, and everything else is mine, me. So if I have a $10,000 day after I build a 2K buffer, I'm taking every dime of that out. And then after that, I could care less if I blow the account. If I have a bad day and blow the pro, I don't care at all, because I've got 5 more funded waiting in the ranks. Doesn't matter to me. And as long as I continue to apply my strategy and my thesis and control my emotions, I've consistently can take $10,000 to $20,000 to $25,000 out every single month in prop firm payouts, because I'm just grinding it up, grinding it up. I'm trading with 3 minis, no less. It would take me forever to pass an eval with micros. So you only keep 2x the buffer on TPT, and anything you make over that a day, you take out. 100%. Everything I take out. Yep. So if it's a 2K buffer, I'm leaving 54,000 in that account, because you buy up to the buffer and then you buy double. Do you still have top step accounts? I do. I have 1 remaining top step account, and once this goes, I'll have to see if they implement that rule, and I won't buy if they implement that rule. I'll never buy another one. I considered doing a Tradeify account, and I am still considering it. I hate their payout caps. That gets me more than anything. There's zero reason to have a payout count in a funded account. You make them pass an eval. Think about it from a statistical standpoint. If you're a trader, you have to go through the risk and actually win the eval. You got to pass the eval, which requires you making $3,000, which is difficult for an average trader to do without losing. You get funded, and now you have to have 5 days, or you have to buy up the buffer on that account. And then after all of that, now you can only pull out $1,000 on the 50K daily payout on Tradeify. So I have to go through all of that nonsense just to pull out $1,000. So if I have a $10,000 day, I can only touch 1,000 of that. So it's not worth the work for me. My time is more valuable to me than anything. Now, if they don't put, if Top Step doesn't change that rule, then I'll stick with Top Step in addition to TPT. But if they make that rule, I'm done with them. It's terrible. What happens to the other 9K you can take out, or is it just gone? I don't know. I haven't looked into it in that deeply. Once I saw that, I kind of scoffed audibly, and I'll have to go back and read what happens to the rest of the balance. I would assume it's still there. You just have to wait until the next payout period, unless they do something like what Top Step's trying to do. If you leave 2x the buffer and make profit above that, do they ever try to roll it over to Pro? So I've been moved to Pro Plus 5 times now, total, and a couple of those had to do with track record. They pull you into Pro because you've taken so many payouts. A couple of those had to do with me hitting a $10,000 profit on a single day, and those were the days where I was slinging 3 to 5 minis, and I just happened to catch very large moves on a couple of times in that session during a very large mover day. And they put you into a Pro Live instantly once you do that. They shut your account, they lock your 10K profit, and then you move you into a live account. What Top Step rule you're talking about? I tried. Hold on a second. Where we go? Finish account, third account. So the rule TopStep is trying to implement is they're trying to make you maintain a balance on your funded account. So if you make $10,000 in a week, and let's say you pull out $1,000, so now your balance is $9,000. You cannot take another payout unless your balance is at least $9,000, even on the next payout. So if you have a losing week, yet let's say you have a losing week, yet you still maintain all of the $550K or $150 payouts on the fifth day. If you don't get back to 9K, you can't take a payout, which is stupid. It's idiotic. Yeah, if you approach the 10K in a day on your TPT, close out your position. Yeah, and that's gross too, mind you. It's not net. It's 10K gross. Net of commission. It's before commissions. Yeah, let me refresh Euro. Is this setting up for a rejection? Maybe. On the 5 minute, I don't see much volume. We are in this little range here. We have to close below this red line, in my opinion, to even consider a downside position. They are selling back some calls. Not much, but they're selling back some. With so much competition, why stay with them? This is dumb. Yeah, 100%. Tried 50K and they're not on free evals. Which one? 3C gold playing out beautifully. Fantastic. You do not copy trade, correct? I think that's my next biggest hurdle with being consistent. I do not copy trade anymore, no. I do not copy trade. Not until I find something that's reliable. And even then, it's just copy trading is fantastic when things are working well. But when you take losses, it's awful. It's destructive. Free evals and TPT. Yep. So the TPT account, you use the code OMTPT. You sign up. You do have to pay up front. But when you take your first withdrawal, they refund that money back to you. So, whichever eval you pay for, you pay for the eval. You get the free funded. So there's zero activation fee for funded. So that's free. You don't have to pay for that at all. You get funded, and when you take your first payout, they refund you back the eval fee. So there's zero bottom line cost once you take your payout. On TPT, you said your current method is to get a 2K buffer, 2X buffer, and then take out every percent past that. Correct. Everything past the 2 times buffer is mine. Does TPT have a maximum withdrawal amount? No, they don't. At least not one that I've taken out yet. Of course, I'm not taking out 100 grand each time, but no, I have taken out 5-figure payouts. All right, we need to get under this line and close before we have a retracement. It feels like we're much higher than 20 points above the open. Not even 20 points. No, we are 20 points, yeah. Does anyone use FTMO prop? They contacted me about an affiliate. They wanted me to affiliate with them because they need, they are very prominent over in Euro. But some people said they use them. You're doing a challenge with them? Nice. My guess is with the pushback, TopStep will wait a little bit longer for implementing that rule. They were betting on everyone being starry-eyed with the new activation plans, no one catching that new rule. Yeah, TopStep always does shady stuff, but it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. When was my last option trade? I took a 0DT call yesterday in Power Hour, which I was waiting on that all day. I've been playing zeros in the Power Hour because it's been beautiful action. The sessions have been incredibly boring, but power hour has been working very well. Been very well. How many TS payouts have I had on the current account? 2. Dose. ChatGPT responded that FTMO is the most firm used ever. Someone said they're a little pricey though, but yeah. A little bit of red coming down. Most of my brokers don't allow 0DD after 3 p.m. IBKR, baby. SPX and IBKR. Cash settled. You ever hear of this digital volume indicator that I have on Bookmap? Negative. Bottom wick. Still can't get it closed below that line. My first payout was not, but after that kind of only makes sense to take the max payout since you're not limited to 5 before live. Yeah. High volume spike in ES and NASDAQ. Yeah, 1 minute. 1 minute volume spike on the bottom too. Can't get it closed below yet. Still no short opportunities. None. What do I think of Lucid? I've never tried him personally. I don't know. I think a couple of people have used Lucid. I haven't heard any bad things about him, but I've never used him personally. Big old green candle. No lower close. Have a good week, small green. Nice watching. Have a good week, baby. See you next week. I like Lucid. Amazingly fast payouts. Interesting. Big green candle after a high volume bottom wick. It's amazing to have the 3C long at the top. Still going. They sold off, they bought back puts from 1.5 all the way down to 700 and then sold them right back off. Have you had any good experience with their straight to funded, or do you do evals first? Lucid's great. Nice. I'll have to take a look at Lucid. I haven't even looked at to see what rules they've got and what processes they have. Honestly, what I'm doing now is working. Like I'm already to the point where I've got too much to manage with TPT and Top Step and my personal account. I've got a good rhythm going where I kind of trade them at the same times every day, so I'm not scrambling. Lucid car, nice. probably won't like them because they do have cap on withdrawal amounts. Like how much? Some plans have no consistency, but some, but I think they have minimum days. Interesting. Yeah, so the reason why I don't like those max payouts or those consistencies is because the only reason I'm even doing prop firms is to scale up my ability to make money. And if I'm going to waste my time trading with a company and they're going to cap my payouts, like it's just wasting my time. I might as well just trade my IBKR and make my money like I see fit. So I don't like payouts. I don't like payout caps. Anyway, we've been now here for 50 minutes. Haven't moved. We're trying to get some sort of signal. It would be beautiful for them to reverse this entire thing today into the afternoon and continue the reversal fun. But first, before we even have that, we need a theme. And right now we're not doing that. That's it for me today. Have a good weekend. You too, Jonathan. Awesome stuff, man. NQ did break support. Yeah, NASDAQ or ES is trying to here. That's a 10-point rejection on ES. That's a pretty healthy candle, actually. And they are buying back some puts. So like I said, I would love for them to fully reverse this. And that we finally have, we technically still don't even have a 3C short yet that's confirmed. We still got 2 minutes, though, but that's a healthy red candle. I'm personally not short right here. 3 red 15-minute candles in a row, slow grind down. Maybe. Y'all shorted yours heart content. I don't think I'm going to short this here. I'm going to let it do its thing. I'm sitting pretty decent here. Not amazing, but decent. See if I can kind of coast into next week with low stress. Last night we made homemade manicotis with a new recipe. It was extraordinary. Extraordinary. To be honest, I think TPT is the only one that doesn't cap payout amounts. I could be wrong, though. I don't know. Why do you think they're the king? TPT is the king, baby. Yes, they have the trailing drawdown, which sucks goats. I'm telling you, it does blow. But blows goats, not sucks goats. I don't know why I said sucks goats. It's weird. But if you can get through the trailing drawdown, it is the best. It is the best. That's their only one gotcha. It is. Another high volume bottom wick. Yep, volume bottom wick right here. But if you've been on Apex, that's not really a big deal. Yeah, tell me about it. Tell me about it. Apex is one of those, man. Apex is the crazy chick you dated in college that texts you every 6 months. It's like you know it's terrible for you, but you want to respond. I always want to go back and try the 20 accounts again, but I just know it's worth it. It's a waste of my time. Mrs. Owen was looking at me. I love it. The 25K account on TPT is cheap and easy to pass. Yeah. Well, they're reducing the bullishness here on the option. They just bought back almost $2 billion worth of puts, people. So just be ready. This may be it. What don't you like about Apex? There's too much crap. It's like they ask you. There's one, the legal documents came out in court that showed them explicitly saying that they're doing everything they can to keep traders from being paid, that's a huge red flag for me. But the rules are very stringent. Like they require documentation, they require video evidence of your trades, and I'm not about to sit there and video every single one of my trades. All right, a little bit of red coming off, a little bit of red coming off, dropping. Let's see if they can pull a Missy Elliott. They are buying a crap ton of puts, baby. They are buying a crap ton of puts. Look at that put activity. Look at that put activity. Oh, please, Daddy. I would love for them to fully reverse this thing. The low of the day right now is 6874. Right there. We have a 3C qualified short position here that almost got bottom wicked, but it didn't. And now we can look for the low of the day, which is 6874. If we take out that, then you can look for pre-market low, 6857, dropping. This would be an extraordinary day if they could dump all of this. I'm still reluctant. Oh man, look at the put activity. 500, 600 million of puts. They just bought back almost $3 million worth of puts. $3 billion, I'm sorry, worth of puts. Definitely muy interesante. Doesn't TPT have 5-day payouts? Negative. TPT is daily payouts. Every day you can take a payout with no payout cap. If you make 10 grand, you take out 10 grand. If you make 30 grand, you take out 30 grand. It's fantastic. Every single day. It's the best. TPT is the best. It's the reason why I affiliate with them, because they're the best. If you're going to trade props, TPT is the best. For freedom. If you like freedom and you like having money, TPT is the best. Yeah, I miss Dan. Dan needs to come back from vacation. I miss Dan. Where is everybody today? Gabagooli, he's gone today. The resident ginger, where's he at? Roaring Brewski, he's gone today. You hate freedom and money? Yeah. There he is. What's up, buddy? I'm out slightly up. A take it for Friday with this pick price action. There you go, buddy. There you go. 68.86. $500 million in puts. Joe Biden has secured a $10 million book deal for his presidential memoir. More red. Work field trip. Nice. There you go. Slightly up. I'll take it for Friday. Nice, Damien. His memoir will just be a bunch of blank pages. Oh. A barrel of buzzard puke. I've blasted a bunch of buzzards before. Those things are stinky. Stinky. All right, so if you're looking at the put activity here, they just bought back. They just went from 1.8 billion of puts sold to 457 million of puts purchased. That is a 2.2 roughly billion, public math there, 2.2 billion of puts purchased back. They haven't sold back the calls though. They're still maintaining over $1 billion in call structure. So if we do go down, there's a little bit more need to be seen. Again, I haven't shorted this yet. I'm not in a hurry to jump into a short position. What's gold doing? Gold, another 3C long opportunity here at 42.69. My brain says short, 3C says long, MNQ. Yeah. Well, he closed under a prior low. This is the SR flip of this morning, 25.774. Man, it's already 10 o'clock. The morning high is way up at 25.867. Another top wick here. Let's see if they're going to top wick this baby down. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. No way they're going to allow a rejection again today. There's no way they're going to allow another sell-off. God help us. God help the bulls if they sell this thing off today. There ain't no way. Another top wick. What y'all thinking? Anyone holding anything on YouTube there? We have a 1 minute 3C. Yeah, we have a 5 minute 2Cs. We don't have a third C yet on the 5 minute. The 5 minutes have been working really well today for identifying moves. So I would caution against using the 1 minute to confirm price action today. I think I'm going to make some beefs or some deer sticks this weekend. Ground me up. I need 25 pounds of ground deer, and I'm almost there for the year. Jalapeno cheddar, that's what I'm going to make. Jalapeno cheddar. Jalapeno business. Sounds like I need a freezer queen to walk out. I do. I'm watching my cameras right now while we're trading here, and I'm seeing if one pops up. Does the rest of the family like spicy? My daughter does not. My boys do, and the wife does, but not too much. But she can take some spice. My boys, they love spicy stuff. It's crazy. I love spicy stuff, and I'll eat it. In fact, I put jalapeno on almost everything. When I eat it, it looks like I jumped in the pool, though. Like, my European blood does not like spicy food. So I think it's the inner Puerto Rican and the inner European that are fighting it out. You know, my grandmother's Puerto Rican, so I thoroughly enjoy spicy food and the taste of jalapeno. But I mean, it's terrible. My kids laugh at me because I'm drenched in sweat, even if the slightest little spice at all. Drenched in sweat. I have to have a towel with me to wipe my head when I'm eating spicy food. That's the downside of being a mutt. I've got more DNA inside of me than Bonnie Blue. Male bonding food, yeah. My wife is Mexican and made a serrano paste the other day and fried the peppers in the kitchen. I couldn't breathe and basically got her tear gassed. Oh, that happens. Yeah, that happens. Yeah, make some jalapenos in the pan. Another top wick coming back over. Any peacock breakfast sausage? Not yet. Not yet. But if they mess up my door again, definitely. All right, so we're still holding this little SR flip from the morning. You saw the big shake and bake in the morning to 68.86, and then they bounced off of it. And now what we're dealing with, if they give this out, I would put a pretty good likelihood that we're going to attack low of the day of 68.74. And we'll see. They are still buying puts. Again, I am not short this move. I know, surprising. But I'm just going to be a spectator on this one. I really enjoy locking in Green Fridays whenever I can. bit of green. RTY for a quick scalp. RTY, yeah, they're putting on a little rejection here too. NASDAQ is bouncing still off this liquidity zone. ES is 68.90. They're trickling down the calls ever so gently, and they're still holding the put purchases of 341. So maybe we just have a range day back down to 68.74. That'd be nice. Which prop would you recommend for beginners? TPT. The reason why I say that is because I want you to be in a prop firm that you can see results with your monetary results. And everything else is a gimmick. You know, the pass in one day stuff is a gimmick for get people to gamble and reset 1,000 times. Payout caps are there to keep your balance in there because they know that eventually you're going to blow it up. TPT has no gimmicks. There's no gotchas. You trade well, you make money, and with daily payouts, it's as close to thing as a real brokerage account as you can get in the prop space. So, TPT. It's the reason why I affiliate with them. I affiliate with 3 different companies. 4, technically, if you're counting TradingView. And I only affiliate with companies that I find value in, that I personally use, and that I think that y'all can benefit from. Spot Gamma, Bookmap, TradingView, and TPT. Short day for me, closing the Iron Condor for 12.5. Have a great weekend. Nice, Mojo. 12.5 is amazing, buddy. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. Hey, I want to get with you. Hold on a second. You responded. Okay. That's done. Reload that tab. Save and reload. Another topic, by the way. There it is. Another top wick. If they break this, pretty decent chance we're going to low of the day. Pretty decent chance we go low of the day. It's not delivery, it's Dear Giorno. Dad joke, I love it. Fantastic. More selling. They are buying back a crap ton of puts, people. They are buying back a crap ton of puts. Are they going to do it? Are they going to do it? That would be great. One red engulfing all the way down. Is that going to do it? There we go. 700 million puts purchased. 700 million puts purchased. $767 puts purchased. $800 million puts purchased. This looks like reversal territory. Just be careful. Bottom wick. What is that? Squishy. 918 million puts purchased. Interesting. That is an aggressive reversal in options activity. Nice OF program. Nice. Gold's getting smoked. Nice silver move down. I took a phone call and came back to a big red. What the heck? Yep. So the options flow completely reversed. We had a 3C possible bounce there at 68.83, and then they just dropped below that. Of course, they're still defending it. So overall, I mean, the trend has shifted for sure. So far, at least. So far. Rejection off the 42.88 again on gold. Gold's getting wrecked. Holy smokerinos, baby. Getting wrecked. Interesting. Forgetting I'm taking 2 meetings on an overnight trend break. Tell me about it. $68.80 SPX GEX. Uh-oh, breaking lower. 900 million. 900 million. Breaking down. Careful. All the way down. Uh-oh. 68.81. We have 830 million. They just broke below the prior lows, so next target's going to be the low of the day of 6874. Right here. Still coming on down. 68.81 and dropping. The 3Cs were phenomenal on this reversal. 1 billion puts purchased after being down almost 2 billion puts. That is nearly a 3 billion change right there, baby. 1.08 billion in puts. They are rolling into puts. Rolling into puts. Dropping. Dropping hard. Dropping hard. Oh, yeah. 3Cs is the way, baby. All right. The VIX is heading back higher. And remember, what we said this morning is that in this environment where the VIX is bottomed out ahead of next week, is that there's going to be volatility spikes on this chart. And we haven't really had a volatility spike yet. The VIX is creeping up. The S&P is grinding down. But there hasn't been like a flash move, as I'm speaking. Flash move here. So, let's see. I looking at a 3C long now? No, absolutely not. We have no volume. There's no volume. We had a possible 3C at 1055, but we never got a third one, and it just rolled over. So now I'm looking for 68.74 here. 1.2 billion of puts. Look at the options flow. It's pure put right here. Pure puts. What's been the whole theme all week? Sell the rip, buy the dip. For on repeat, both of them. What does Linda Raschke say and Anna Coling say about late day reds after morning strong greens? Distribution. So the buyers have got to protect this chart today. Otherwise, this will be 5 days in a row of strong selling into the afternoon. So if the buyers don't bounce this up and reattack highs, then we're just playing with fire here. We're playing with fire. And all I'm saying here is caution. Is caution. I am not as euphoric bullish as most people are because of what I'm seeing on the chart. Today was dang near got us into breakout territory here. And of course, what do they do now? And there's still plenty of time left in the day. They can still buy it back up and attack new highs. And if they do, then I'd probably say the distribution thesis is temporarily suspended. But this is interesting going into next week. You're right, just slightly early. Last 30 minutes were only downside on the 5-minute. Yep. So NASDAQ is still sliding a little bit lower. ES is trying to put on a bottom wick here. We have 1.2 billion in puts. We have a slight increase in volume there with a small bottom wick without hitting the low of the day yet. Uh-oh. 68.78. Here it goes. You're right, just slightly early. Coming into London close here, too. Maybe this is profit taking into London close. But this is a very binary day so far. Straight green, then straight red. Haven't had a green candle now since 10:45. VIX is heading higher. Puts are going down more. $68.78 breaking lower down to $68.74. Heading for the low of yesterday. That's a little extreme. Possibly, but that's extreme. There's too many obstacles to get through first before I can start calling for that. First is going to be low of the day. After that will be pre-market low. And after that, yeah, we'll look for yesterday's low. But we have a long way to go before we can think about that. You know, we just went from relentless green trend. And right now, I'm just looking at this as a range day for now. If they start getting into the $2.5 to $3 billion put positions, then yeah, we'll consider yesterday's low. But right now, they're still sitting at a moderate amount of puts, which is about $1 billion. And you still see volume come in at the lows here, which means the buyers are trying to defend. See this? There are two volume spikes on here and here. So from a VPA perspective, the buyers are still trying to defend this lower price. Now, if they just smoked right on through it and then used the prior low as resistance and fell, that's one thing, but they're still putting in volume spikes to lows, which means the buyers are still defending. So again, I'm just trying to gauge my expectations here based on what I'm seeing on the price action. There it goes, a little bit of green bounce. 68.85. Rejection back down. Close out some zeros beyond calls. Nice, 400%. Yeah, coming on down. What do I use Spot Gamma for? Tracking options analytics. Options analytics. Out for the day. Hope you have a good weekend. You too, buddy. Appreciate you, Shane. Make sure you review that video from yesterday. And yeah, have a good weekend. Hedge wall, nice routine. Tremendous sell-off here. Tremendous. Let's see if we can continue the fun. Coming up, 68.86. Come up, London close, 5 minutes, and then I'm going to call it a day, call it a week, get ready for next week. What's the 3 lines on the chart he's looking at? Is it GEX? To the left is Spot Gamma, if that's what you're talking about. That is put options flow, 0 DTE. All right. Ooh, gold. Yeah, clean gold bounce for sure. BTC breaking 90K is no bueno. Didn't it break last week? Did it break back above it or below it? Thanks for all your help. Have a great weekend. You too, Will. You're welcome, Basan. Bought back some of the puts there, or sold back some of the puts. They're still defending this little bit of volume support here. Volume came in and defended the buyers into this area, defended the demand. Pretty clean day. Pretty clean day. Just had to be very, very patient. BlackRock moved 150 mil into Bitcoin to Coinbase account. Let them sell it. Yeah. Oh, hey, we got to do the giveaway. We never did the giveaway. All right. 50K counts. Another red top wick. 119 people entered. Nice. Uh-oh, another big top wick. Uh-oh. I got to count these. Hold on. And then we'll get back to you. Uh-oh. About to put a new low in. You don't have 109 figures and toes. Negative. About to put another low in. They're about to buy in puts here. And here comes the attack. There's no more buyers left to defend after two high volume spikes until 68.74. And we'll look for another high volume spike, which is only in 4 more points. Not a big deal. But if they take out that, overnight low, baby. Crazy move. Crazy move. Here it comes. Here it comes. Here it comes. 1.3 billion and falling. Here comes low of the day touch. Here comes low of the day touch. Bang. Did they do it? Yep. Smoke-a-ronies. 1.4 billion puts. I'm sorry, 1.34 billion in puts. And now we're dropping, baby. Now we're dropping. Now we're dropping. Amazing stuff. Now it gets spicy. Now we start coming for 57. Now it gets spicy. If they can do it. Can they put up a defensive overnight low? Or, I'm sorry, the prior session low? So far, they're holding it up just fine. This is the only defense left until pre-market low of 57. Oof. Oof. Wow. 1.43 billion puts. 200% nice trippy, Mike. Beautiful, buddy. Beautiful. Beautiful. Amazing stuff. VIX is back up to 16. We have 1.45 billion in puts. They are selling. They have sold off all the calls, and not only bought back all the puts, but they've bought back an additional 1.4 billion of puts. Here's a defense of the day's lows right here. Last line of defense before pre-market lows. So annoying. I just left the position on. Yeah, I feel you. It happens. The Bulls better defend today's session. I was like 40% red at one point. Nice. And bottom wick. There's the day's lows bottom wick. Patience should be spelled patience. All done, locked out, bang, bang. Nice, Lanner. Well done, buddy. Have a fantastic weekend, man. It's been a great week. And next week's going to be even better. It's going to be a banger of a week next week. Be ready. Be ready. Aggressive bottom wick with volume. That is a third volume spike from the buyers at the day's lows right there. Can't say I didn't warn you about the day's lows right there. Scalpable position. Calling it. Beautiful. Nice, Twizzy. Well done. I kept what I made. Locked up the green. Nice, Krish. Well done. Great execution. Great risk management. Awesome stuff. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. The Bulls better defend this level. That spike got me out, so I reduced the stop. Annoying. Buyers have no juice. That is 3 high volume spikes into this area. If they cannot hold this, they're going to give back another 20 points. They better hold it. They better hold it. Palmetto State has a digital night vision monocular for 400 bucks. Digital night vision sucks though. In the green, hope everyone has a good weekend. Time to get laundry going and weekend festivities. Beautiful, Fritz. Passed 2 more top step 50Ks on that downward move and passed them in about 2 weeks lately. Having a hard time making it past 1 payout though. Hey, payouts, payout. Pay for the account. What's the best strategy for a beginner to pass a 25K TPT eval? You need to show. Maintain small position sizing, and I say small, but I mean risk tolerant position sizing. So 25K account is obviously the smallest account. You don't have much wiggle room. Minis are completely off the table for you for a 25K account. What's the buffer on that? 1,500 bucks? One sec, I have to answer a phone call. All right, sorry about that. The best strategy to pass a 25K account, you have to go small. Small position sizing, you inch your way up, you get the buffer, you go 2x the buffer, and you start taking payouts. So just go small. Minis are off the table. Have I tried Take Profit? I have. Yeah, I'm an affiliate of Take Profit. I believe it. I think they're the best. All right, about to put a new low. After this, we'll go down to pre-market low right here. VIX is still spiking. They're building back volatility and looking for 57. I saw a YouTube short about an Air Force guy and how much firepower they have. It mentioned something about a CC really pulling the strings and that they have to be civilian. What's that? Combat controls. They don't have to be civilian, though, but a combat controller is an airfield, Air Force, pretty much it's a combat air traffic controller. They're on the ground, and they're controlling the airspace above the combat. Fantastic career field, by the way. All right, about to take out, absorb this low here. I do like TPT as far as the rules go. I prefer Top Step's interface and lockout. Yeah, Top Step does have fantastic lockout features, so I'll give them that. Yep. XLU. No, it's showing me down 50% as well. That's got to be a malfunction. Yeah. Yeah, it's a malfunction. Wait, let's zoom all the way out. Let's make sure. Now, if that was down 50%, we would be in colossal end times here. So. I was about to enlist as a combat controller, then my wife got pregnant. She was about to have me doing all special forces junk. Yeah. Another bottom wick to save this sell-off so far. I'm chilling on the 1 minute. Have I chopped down my Christmas tree yet? We do a fake Christmas tree. We don't do real ones. Oh, another green candle to save the sell-off. Defending the day's lows right here. So far. Boom. There you go. I do like the smell of a real tree. Yeah, we usually get a candle to mimic the smell of the tree. I almost signed a PJ contract in 2008, not knowing what it really entailed. Went with baseball scholarship instead. PJ is a fantastic. PJ is a medic, an airborne medic. You have to be in insanely good shape to be a PJ. So PJs, they're well loved in the Special Forces community across all branches, because you see the chopper come in, you see PJ jump off, and you'll know you'll be okay. All right, I think I'm going to call it a day. It's 11:45. I've stuck on a little bit longer to see if we get down a pre-market low, but it looks like they're not going to give out the day's lows here. So yeah, keep a close eye on the put activity here. Obviously, the euphoria is still to the upside, so they're doing a little morning punishment of that. We'll see if that actually changes. But right now, they're doing a great job of defending. We have 3 high volume bottom spikes for the bottom wicks for the buy side here, and they're defending the day's lows. If they give that out, then yeah, pre-market low. But until then, buy the dip, sell the rip. It's been an extraordinary week. It's been a very patient week. The 3 C's have shined. Hope you all learn a little something. Until then, we will be back next week for a fantastic week. We have CPI, non-farm payroll, and then the week after that we have FOMC. So be ready for some shaking and baking. Until next time, I'm out. See you.